Welcome to the Gransberry Chronicles Weekly Pick'em. It's week 7. I'm your girl, the Gransberry, and I got my boy D Jones on the right,
What's popping?
and I got my boy Coach B Pat on the left. And actually, it's the left and the right, just depends on which way you looking. But you get the point. I'm in the middle. Moni in the middle. Moni. Oh, okay.
In the middle. Where she at? In the middle.
Hey, I finally remembered the lyric to a song. I need some.
You had the beginning part. You're right.
What a rich tea. Look at what a rich tea.
Anyway, welcome everybody on a Tuesday night. We kind of feeling the Tuesday night vibe. Want to do a quick wrap up of week 6, some things that were different and exciting to me at this point. I call week 6, I've nicknamed it the upset week because it was the most upsets based on what predictions were out there, right? And we had some great finishes with the upsets. They weren't just upsets, it was also the finishes. And even though we all picked uh the Cowboys to win last week, their game even came down to an exciting finish. And I think, for football fans, while your team may not exactly be playing the way you want them to play, what is guaranteed is we have had several games that have locked you in to the end. And so for me as a football fan overall, that's all I can ask for. When it's not your team, it's exciting to watch. When it is your team, it's exhausting to watch. and
Yeah.
yeah, and again, before we get started, I'm not going to get into the actual name dropping, but last night on Monday Night Football, there was an excitement moment and a sad moment expressed by the same fan for the Chargers. And what was interesting about it is after she had her moment of fame and disclosure with large media today, people tried to backlash her for being a dual fan. And as we all know, D Jones is a dual fan of the Texans and Green Bay. And so in fairness and in support of her, you can like as many teams as you can afford to have time for. And at the same time, guys, she never misled anyone. She said that she had been a fan of the Chargers when they moved to LA and she has season tickets. So if she wants to cheer for the Chargers today and the Vikings tomorrow, that's her right.
I was about to say, what's her story? I saw it, but I didn't know her story. I didn't know
So they came
somebody.
back out because they found a picture of her being just as animated at a Vikings game and said she
Oh,
wasn't a true Chargers fan because they was trying to imply she was a paid plant, first of all.
okay. Yeah. Okay.
She downplayed that on the show, and then someone went dug up this other picture, but that's when she lived in Minnesota. So I mean, she's a long fan of Minnesota, so I should say when she lived there, but a long fan of Minnesota because the Chargers didn't move to LA to 2017. Since
Right.
that time, if she putting her money into both teams, I think y'all need to mind your business.
That's
Yeah,
fair. That's
that's
a
fair.
fair. That's a
It's
fair
truly
sentiment.
fair.
Yeah.
So and it's a great, I would say, paradox into the fact that people say things like a picture's worth 1,000 words. Well, first you got to listen to the 1,000 words before you make an assumption on the picture. And this is a perfect indication of that. So shout out to her for enjoying herself at the game. And, I've been through those moments of the last second your team takes the loss just after you got so emotional with their comeback. So that was my week 6 takeaway. It was the week of upsets, the week of getting to see a new fan, and we still don't really have anybody topping our dance celebrations in the end zone yet. Miami's still far out there in the lead. And speaking of Miami, Tyreek took another great moment again. He did a backwards flip live, and he was fined for it. But I'm like, some fines are worth it, like there's a great amount of excitement after a while in a game, but you definitely want to remember that they're trying to have fun too. And so I'm not sure how staged, unstaged it was, but the backwards flip was amazing, and I'm here for it. I'm totally
I still got to look it up. I heard him talk about it, but I hadn't seen it. So was it just a backwards flip into the end zone, or
no. So
did he have a camera or
grabs,
something?
yeah, he grabs a cell phone
Okay.
Oh
and
yeah,
he
that's the
records
one.
it,
Yeah,
but apparently it was live streaming. So I don't obviously we don't know. We were at our own game, but it was live streaming at
Okay.
the same time. But he takes a phone, but that's why he gets the flag because
Yeah,
he
because you can't use the prop.
you
That's
got
why I
the
was like, I
phone.
knew it
Yeah,
wasn't just about
yeah.
the flip. I knew it had to be something else.
correct,
Okay. So he
correct.
took, what was that Joe Horn back in the day that had cell phone planted in the
Yeah, in the
in
end
the,
zone.
in the,
Don't. Yeah.
yeah, in the
Well,
clip.
this time it was someone holding it.
So
So
they was ready.
Oh,
and they
They
also
was
had
ready.
a professional camera. So, it was a dual effect there. But anyway,
It's worth the risk.
the Cincinnati Bengals had a nice one of the trendy TikTok dances as their end zone routine. Derek scored it at 8 out of 10. I would say right now it's probably moved into the top three, but it's hard to beat Miami right now. It's just hard.
Well, you also got we got to give love to to the Shador that
Yeah,
was
by the
doing
Jets.
the
Yeah, so
Jets
that's
doing that. We
moving.
saw a
That's
couple
rounding
people
out the
doing
top
it.
five. That's
yeah,
rounding out the top five.
Yeah.
And I like it. I like it because usually the trend is in the reverse. We have
the
the
college
high
play
school and
doing it.
college
Yeah,
kids trying to emulate the pros, and now we have the pros bringing in what they see the college kids do, and so I like it. I
Yeah,
like it.
I love
I
it.
like it. We don't have many big games this week. We're still gonna have cycling buys, but for the moment, D Jones, I want you to kill those games that we just, don't always talk about.
Yeah, so we're gonna get these out the way. Most of them we agree on. We got a couple of solo dolos, so we all agree on Vegas beating Chicago, Cleveland beating Indy, Buffalo over New England, Washington over the Giants, Tampa Bay to beat Atlanta, Seattle to beat Arizona, and San Fran to come out big over over Minnesota. The Solo Dolos, Coach picks Pittsburgh over the Rams, and Gransberry picks Denver to beat Green Bay. And that's the ones we got out the way.
Yeah, I might change on Green Bay, and yeah, I might, but I didn't really like what I saw against Vegas, um, and so I would say Denver's lost some close games versus being out of their games. And so if it's a close game, I'm leaning toward Denver can finish it. So that's that. But but I want to give a shout out to the New Orleans Saints fan base. I think for a long time, I talk about different fan bases and traveling all over to every stadium. And I think I might not have spent enough time giving the Saints fans enough credit for how loyal they come across in their fandom. And to highlight that, obviously it's easy to say they travel well to Texas, but there's a difference between traveling well and being engaged with the team. They set up, 3-day parties to kick it all the way up until the game. They live the tradition of basically bringing their own Bourbon Street to Houston, and turns out they had a second line post game. I mean, I
yes,
don't, I just don't know who could bring that kind of energy, and it could enrapture everyone around them, and at the same time, win or lose, you feel, like you're right in the middle of it. And they were a great fan base to be around in the crowd as well. I also think they kind of inspired our DJ selection a little bit to be a
right.
little bit more hip, as we all can agree, 4 years ago in New Orleans, we definitely were having a good time between every time out, uh, enjoying the game. So I just wanted to give a shout out to the fans, and glad we didn't have that chant, the Who Dat chant all the way out the stadium, knowing that
Man.
would have been loud.
Man, it was lovely seeing them walk out the stadium The
Oh,
stands upset.
on the
Yeah.
turnover, on the
Yeah.
turnover.
After that touchdown, I mean after the turnover that Steven Nelson got the interception on the 2 yard line, all of them walked out and drove just going up. So it was beautiful. Beautiful stuff.
One week you're smiling, one week you're frowning. So you
Yeah,
take every win you get.
yeah.
And
Okay.
two home wins.
I got more gratification out of the Pittsburgh one than I did the NOLA one.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
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 Right,
because
because
the Pittsburgh one was over earlier.
yeah.
you
It
said what now?
was.
The Pittsburgh one was over, clearly earlier. He had a bigger gap where that
It
interception
was getting
still
too
was like
tense.
30 seconds left. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was
So
getting too
I
tense.
mean, then you had the pass interference that came all the way from across the field, and yeah, so
the crowd was electric. It was a great game.
it was.
So first up, we have Jacksonville versus New Orleans, as a matter of fact. And so far it's trending that Trevor will play. So, he's experiencing some knee soreness. I don't know how that translates or works out, but I think Jacksonville's defense has enough to, you know, still come out with a win on the road. I know they'll be looking for a win after this loss on Sunday, but I anticipate a win. Coach?
I'm going with New Orleans in this one. They're at home. I believe is this the Thursday night game?
Thursday.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I was wondering because I couldn't remember when I saw the reports of Trevor's knee soreness. They were, because typically it probably wouldn't have been a problem if it was a Sunday game because you got an extra few extra days to get knee treatment. I'm going to New Orleans simply because I was somewhat impressed with their defense. Dropping 8 back, rushing 3. Um, I'm not sure if I'm just saying on a short week. I just think they're going to be amped up to try to win this game. But Jacksonville, something about London and Jacksonville. After they're done with London, they go on a winning streak. But I think New Orleans is going to get this one at the house. Field
Yeah,
goal game.
I agree with you. I think they need to move their training camp to London. Maybe they'll start the season quicker if they
Right.
come out the gate from
Shoot, they
London.
might move the whole team
It's a
there.
thought.
You never know.
Well, it's a thought. But my preliminary pick was Jacksonville, but I think I'm leaning more towards the Saints on this just because they'll be at home. They did some good things in that game last week. Houston
Right.
played some bend but don't break defense, and we were fortunate to get a couple of missed field goals. But I think for this game we're gonna go New Orleans to take down Jacksonville here.
And don't get me wrong, I would love to see that happen. And if they still say he looking iffy, then
If he don't play, for sure New Orleans. But if
Right.
he plays, I could see myself flipping on this one before the game Thursday. Because like I said, my preliminary pick was Jacksonville. Matter of fact, I think if you look at the app right now, I got Jacksonville. But the more I think about it, I'm leaning towards New Orleans.
Yeah, I can see why the home advantage. Like I don't see anything wrong with either pick on this side. I just think that he can handle on the road.
Yeah,
New
Right.
Orleans.
they're gonna be ready.
So next up, a team that's not getting enough hype, Detroit versus Baltimore. And shout out to Mitchell Brock, die hard, all Detroit fan. And, he'd like his team to get a little bit more shine and respect, and well deserved at that point. I think this stat line came out today about teams from the end of last season through this season with the best records. And of course, Detroit was in there. And I honestly think that Detroit can go into Baltimore and get a win. They pretty much have a collective unit to me right now, all 3 phases. Sometimes it's hit or miss with the Ravens. We don't really know what receiver core we're receiving, that week or whatever. And so for me, I think Detroit's just playing complete football. And so absent some mental breakdowns, I think they're very capable of going on the road and capturing a win. D. Jones?
Yeah, you convincing me on that. I was leaning towards the Ravens, and I'm still gonna pick the Ravens. But I think Detroit is definitely the better team in this matchup right now, playing the best right now. Like you say, they clicking on all 3 phases. playing very confident on defense, but very, very efficient on offense. So I think what stuck Baltimore last week was a lot of drop passes by their receivers. So I think if they can get in and clean some of that up, I think they'll be ready. And again, it's the home field advantage thing here too. Kind of like with Nola, I think those guys will be ready to play in front of their home teams after the effort that they put up on Sunday. So yeah, I'm picking Baltimore to win this one. What you say, Coach?
I was in the same boat as you, D Jones. I was, after listening to Willow Ridge T's response about Detroit. So Detroit is actually playing excellent ball. They're a more sound team, but I think Baltimore's gonna come home pissed off from the aspect of losing that particular game the way they did last week with that. But then I think it's also time for somebody to step up in the AFC North, and I think Baltimore's going to try to do that, and I think it's going to start Sunday. I'm not picking Baltimore to win it in the AFC North. I'm just saying somebody has to step up, and I just think it's going to be a very good game, and I'm gonna go with Baltimore with this one simply for the home field advantage. But like you said, it could be one of those that you can switch up on Sunday morning.
Well, since we're on this home field advantage, Kansas City is at home against LA, and I'm gonna go with the home team, leave it real easy, you know. And I don't have much to say. I just feel like KC, D Jones.
Yeah, this is gonna be it's gonna be a good division game. The Chargers are always ready for KC. In KC, they play very, very well there. But the thing about the Chargers for me is they so freaking inconsistent within the game. Not not week to week. Not hey, we win in one week, lose.
Half to half, quarter to quarter,
They
play to
will
play.
be up and give the game away or play totally different. They take a lot of risky chances on fourth down, and I understand being aggressive, but sometimes you need to get your team going and take the points, and then it's like even
So you were to kick the field goal.
yeah, either that or even some of the play calling on fourth and one is like, dude, if you're gonna go, that's the play, So it's like, so yeah, I'm gonna go with KC just because they're playing better right now to me. I think if it was any other time, I probably would lean towards the Chargers, but I expect a good game. I think the Chargers they're not scared of them there, so they're used to playing there. So yeah, yeah, Oville, I agree with you, but I think it's more so. I think they got the play
What do you
caller
agree with?
with Oville with him playing like a JV quarterback, but I think it's a lot of it is on Moore's play calling sometimes, but it's hand in hand. Coach, what you say?
It's going to be a clean sweep, Kansas City at the house. I know us three know D Jones is always saying division game, division game, division game in the group chat whenever we talk about a game. Be like, man, this easy, but it's division game. That's the first thing he always says out of it. And I agree with what you said as far as it being a division game, and the Chargers are trying to get over the hump in trying to win some of these close games, but it's not going to be this week. Kansas City's going to win this one.
It's not going to be this week. That's going to be the phrase we'll use often. It's not going to be this week. All right. But what is this week is Miami versus Philly.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. And somebody got to take their second loss. So, this game, you know what? This game actually has more hype around it than Dallas versus the 49ers. I say that because when you thought about Dallas versus the 49ers, instinctively you thought about defenses. We were trying to see or talk about which defenses would dominate the game, right? We didn't necessarily say which quarterback would play better because we weren't thinking of it as two high-profile quarterbacks versus each other. We were really thinking about two defenses that were tracking as best defense and which one would control the opposition's quarterback the most for the win. Obviously, we already know how that turned out, but on this side, we have awesome receivers on both teams. We got, two quarterbacks who played at Alabama. There's so much,
Played together at Alabama.
and
backup, first string, backup, flip flop.
correct. If my life had been situated better at the moment and I thought about it, I would have flown to this game.
This the one
Like,
to be at.
This the one to be at, definitely.
To be at, and because I'm into offense. I love defense. Obviously, my nephew plays safety, so I'm big on a good tackle and a nice hit. But I think it'll be exciting just to see how this plays out because I think sometimes we've seen the bend don't break method of the Eagles with the defense, and so it'll be interesting to see how they attack and plan for Miami's. Exactly. And then at the same time, I definitely believe that, Hurts is looking for recovery from last week. It's one thing when you get the interception, and we all know that. It's another thing when that interception directly leads to losing the game. We have been in that position so many times. And so it's easy as a fan for me to understand, how you just want to get back. You're just ready to get back at it. Right. Mm-hmm. And so one of the famous quotes, so far by Jalen is, how do you get to a point about how you feel about the game versus your own stats? It's losing. And so I'm sure that stench is on him and he wants it off. Not so much for the perfect record, but just to come back from it. And so I might just need to check out a few things. Maybe it's possible still. I don't know. We're going to see. But right now, I'm down with this game. And I really don't know who I'm picking. I really don't know.
You got to pick.
I have to pick, but I don't have to pick today.
No, you got to pick today. You got us doing the show on Tuesday. We got to pick today. Yep. You can change. I know, but you can change. All right. All right. You ain't got to pick.
D. Jones, who would you pick?
I don't know. I don't know. Now, so now, really though, this is gonna be about system versus system, right? So you talked about Philly sometimes playing bend don't break, but on the back end, but you can't play that with the speed that you're gonna be going against on Miami. From pretty much every skill position outside of the quarterback, from the running back to the receivers. So it's going to be interesting to see the chess match between the coaches. To me, that's what I'm most eager to watch in this game, to see how they make adjustments, to see what kind of game plan Philly starts out with, with that strong front, and if they're just going to trust they four up front for the pass rush and to stop the run and leave everybody else to help with coverage. They got the talent to do that on that front line. That's why I'm giving them the edge in this game. I'm giving Philly the edge in this game because of that. I think they'll be able to generate pressure on Tua just with their front line without having to move too many to play too many blitzes, and maybe they send a linebacker here and there, but they front four is good enough to where they can play some off coverage. I think you put Big Play Slay, if he's back this week, you put him on Waddle and pray for the best, but you still got to play two safeties on top. But somebody I don't know what they're gonna do with Cheetah. I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know what anybody does with Cheetah. But yeah, because of their defensive line, I give them the edge in this game going in. But I think it's going to be a very entertaining chess match between the coaches to see how they make adjustments. What you say, Coach?
Like you said, Philly has a legit 4 to 6 guys on that D line that can actually go from that aspect. But the Slade thing is a little, iffy. I don't know, from that aspect of it. But Jalen, he was hot. I know. The thing I liked about Philly, they lost their game and they showed a post-game thing where their players actually led the locker room, said, we hold ourselves accountable for losing this game. because we didn't come out prepared the way we should have. But then you got Miami who was mad after losing to Buffalo and coming back and doing different things. But this, like you said, this is the game of the year to this point with these two. Back and forth. You got the short passing game into the track speed from Miami. Then you got the same thing on Philly side. So, but Philly had some drop receivers had some drop passes last week. That's the reason why they signed Julio today. But Julio's probably not going to play this game because he just got signed. So I'm going with Philly in this one simply because of what Derek said from the aspect of the front line being able to come and try to give Tua some pressure and bring some different aspects, stunts, and maybe a linebacker here and there. But they're gonna have to try to do something a little bit different because that speed is different in Miami. It's just different.
Speak on it. Speak on it. Speak on it.
Yeah, it hit different.
Like I said, I think this will be a good high rated game. Other than watching your local favorites throughout the day, I think this is a good one. To look forward to on Sunday. So
That's the Sunday night, right? Sunday night game.
yeah, it's actually the
Yeah.
Sunday night game. So
Yeah.
I mean, they actually couldn't have picked a better.
No, yes, it's Sunday night. Yes, correct.
Yeah, I think it just happened to work out.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
They got a good one there.
So we can't leave without acknowledging that the ALCS is going on, and I'm sure it's a lot of happy people in Dallas right now. They got the Astros down 0-2, and it heads to Dallas tomorrow. Still looking forward to it. I'm back on track for heading to DeSoto for some awesome football this weekend and against Cedar Hill. So it's the battle of the belt line. Both schools being on opposite ends of belt line. And Saturday here in Houston at In Style Boutique on Westheimer and Fountain View, I will be having a pop-up shop. So come out, and if you have time from 1 to 4, and check out some exciting things that I have. And I'll be trying to post more about it over the next few days. And hopefully by next month, I'll launch fully my online store. I'll get the push from my boy over there to the left. And then, I always find time to give a public service announcement and a read that some people need.
Do we need our Bibles? We need our Bibles today.
I love sports. That's a definite. But I'm also an intellectual. Oh, you put me on the solo screen. You go right ahead. But I want to make this clear. I'm also an intellectual. I'm as much into sports as I am into things of the mind, the science, okay, the law, all of that. And what I want to get out there is I have 2 amazing co-hosts. I have a ton of friends to talk sports and travel sports with. If for some odd reason you think you want to date me, I don't want to talk about sports all the time to you. I don't want to do it. That's not dating me. So if you are interested in someone else and they don't like sports and you're using me to fill that void, leave me alone. Leave me absolutely alone. I'm not here to help you have those conversations you can't have. Okay? I'm not your side sports chick. We're not gonna make that a trend. Okay? Leave me out of the group chat, the solo chat, any chat. Don't text me. Don't DM me. Talk about it. I don't want to watch the game with you and eat wings. I could do that with these dudes right here. Okay? And several others who I know got my back.
What's a Drake at? No new friends.
No new sports friends. If you want to talk sports, join the show every week. We can talk about it all you want in the comments. We can even bring you on as a special guest. But leave me alone. And on that note, D. Jones, tell people where they can find you.
I don't even know.
How do you follow
D. Jones.
That's 3 weeks in a row that she done did a sermon, D.
Hey man, that's how we doing from now on.
I mean, I'll go back to Truthful Thursdays, but you know, I'm trying to get you to watch the show and join in and converse with us on the show. Don't send me them dry texts.
Man,
I'm open.
I love it. I'll let your boy on Twitter or TikTok, that boy D Jones, or Instagram, that boy D. Jones. B Pat, where you at?
Twitter and Instagram, Coach B Pat.
Well, I'm the Gransberry everywhere: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. But my DMs are not open to talk to you about sports and do sports dates. Like it's the lamest thing. Like it's the lamest sports excuse of existence. And I just feel like it needed to be said because maybe I didn't say it. Maybe it's got to be out of my mouth in public, right? Like,
They ain't gonna stop him.
oh, it's gonna stop them. I'm gonna start screenshotting. Y'all don't want to know my business.
Not the receipts. Not the receipts.
Y'all don't want to know my business.
Not the receipts.
But I don't want to be bothered with dumb business. I want to be treated equally. You know what I'm saying? Like, I put on heels and I wear makeup and I like real shit. You know, dinners, good times, events, movies, whatever. Thank you. As much as you beg for this show, Oville, I'm with you. That's all I'm on the show. On the show. Okay. And on that note,
we'll see reach T.
Hey, we'll see y'all next time. Cause
she done wrapped and preached.
Peace.